Okay, you're welcome to turn on your cameras if you would like, guys. And let's begin with today's class. So we're gonna continue with the unit of man's story in God's story. And I want to apologize for not having class with you guys last week Thursday, but I was called for a last minute meeting and I had to cancel my class with you guys. Good morning, those of you that are joining. And I did check and I did return your assignments. And I know that some of you, quite a few of you, had quite some sections missing in the homeworks. And you are free to redo the assignment if you would like to do that. Um, but just let me know if you decide to redo the assignment because you did not get a grade that you liked. And I know that some of you did fail the assignment, especially the second learning activity where you had to include all of the 10 aspects. And I was really I'm really grateful with you guys. I had a variety of assignments. Some of you read the story, some of you did a video, some of you did a PowerPoint presentation, and I had a variety of assignments, which was very interesting to check. But like I mentioned, if you want to get a better grade for your assignment, feel free to just do the assignment again. You can fix it, add what was missing, and I'm more than happy to check over your assignments. All right. So that was in regards to last week and what happened last week, right? So as I had mentioned last week when we started off this unit, my deep hope is basically for us to be idolatry discerners and community builders, and doing that through gracious communication. And that's what we started doing last week, where we did these presentations, and that was really your oral and your written communication that was happening there. This week now, if you have taken a look at the assignments that I have posted, the assignments basically are targeting artistic skills this week. So I would like to see what your artistic skills are through the assignments that I'm giving you guys that target the topic of West African culture, the trade of West Africa, and also we're going to be hitting a little bit about the European arrival that happened in West Africa. The biblical framework, we had talked about creation last week, and this week you want to move on to fall. So this is what I had mentioned about creation, where um where in the Bible it says that God had given Adam and Eve the opportunity to live in the Garden of Eden. He had given them a mandate to take over, to take care of creation, to have this responsibility of creation care. But in no moment God told them, okay, I am no longer the owner, man is the owner of earth. No. And when we look at the fall now, that happened in this storyline that we're looking at, um the because of the broken relationship that happened and this whole story where God had given this mandate to Adam and Eve to have creation care, and all of the relationship was broken, everything was distorted after sin came into the world. We have this concept of, one moment, that man and people feel that they are owners of things that are here on earth. For example, you guys have your homes and you're in your home, and more than likely your house has a fence, or okay, your parents know this is where my yard starts and this is where my yard finishes. And this is my property, right? And a lot of people have that idea that, okay, I bought this land is for me, it's for nobody else. And we feel ownership over creation, right? And what happened in the West African culture, and as we're going to be looking at in this week, is that there were things that were found in the area of Mali, of Ghana, of Songhai, that they were taking out of the earth, and they were saying, this is mine. And because of that, so many consequences happened afterward, because they thought that, okay, this ownership is mine, I am getting wealthy because of what is in my property. All right. And that is what we're going to be looking at this week. And then the essential question, where did we come from? And by the end of the 6 weeks, we're going to have an idea of what the answer to that question is. So now this week we're gonna be looking at three major long-term impacts of the West African culture. This is a little bit out of the storyline that we're looking at. It doesn't really follow the idea that we were doing last week and what we're going to be ending this week with. It's just something that I put in there because of the curriculum that we have to cover, but I'm integrating it in this week along with the Portuguese trade. So, how was Portugal, if you guys know where Portugal is in Europe? How is Portugal's trading with Ghana, with Mali, and with Songhai affect them? And what were the aftermath effects of this trading with Portugal and these African empires? What happened because of that trading that happened there? So, today's concept, we are looking at first the West African culture, and that is what we're talking about today. And in Google Classroom, I had posted, guys, an entry ticket. So if you have access to your Google Classroom, you can go and click on the entry ticket. If not, I'm just going to put the link in the chat. It is posted as November 9th entry ticket. Okay, I'm putting the link in the chat. Now, if you have a laptop, it should work fine. If you have a device and you do not have Jamboard downloaded, you will not have access to it, right? But that's okay. Don't worry about it. Um, I'm trying to see. Okay, let me share this instead. Sharing to Google Meet. Okay, this is what you guys should be looking at, right? For those of you that are just joining, I'm putting the Jamboard link in the chat. What I want you guys to do is, out of what we talked about last week, we started off with the West African empires. I want you guys to go here on the side. If you have another device, it should be either on this side as well or at the bottom. There is this little icon that says sticky notes. This is what is going to pop out. I want you to type one thing. It doesn't matter if it's just one word, one thing that you learned last week. It could be one of the empires, it could be the topic, it could be something that you learned about each of the empires, it could be somebody that was the importance of each of the empires. It doesn't really matter. One thing that you guys recall from last week, you type it in the sticky note. You can change the color if you would like, and then when you type it, you press save and it should pop out over here, and then you can just put it anywhere. All right, just one thing that you remember you learned from last week's lesson, and just use the sticky notes, right? Do not use the pencil, do not use the marker, do not um click on the clear frame because you will delete everything for everybody. So just click on the sticky note and you add a little sticky note there, right? So I'll give you guys 3 minutes. I think that's enough. Once you have added your sticky note, you can leave the Jamboard, right? So you guys can go ahead and do that. Add a sticky note, you type something, and then you just put your sticky note there. Okay, I see one already. Very good. Okay, guys, I'm gonna give you one more minute. Add a sticky note, and then you put one thing that you learned last week. Anything, right? Anything. Any of the three empires, an important person, a fact, an interesting fact, anything that you recall. And then you just add a sticky note there. Okay, guys. So I will be taking a look at the Jamboard later on after the session is over. If you haven't had a chance to put in your sticky note, make sure that you do it before midday today, right? And then I'll be removing edit access for this. Um, so let's go back to the PowerPoint presentation. Okay. So we have worked with the entry ticket, and that was posted in Google Classroom from last night. And now talking about the first activity that is either in your package or learning activity one that is posted in Google Classroom. This activity is asking you guys to do a coat of arms. Now, a coat of arms is just a visual representation of history, right? If we take a look at Belize's coat of arm, if you look at all of the different details that are in that coat of arm, it tells a story, and it tells the history, well, part of the history that Belize went through. So for your coat of arms, and this could be done electronically and it could be done manually, but it has to be a page size. And on your page size, I want to see the coat of arms, and it does not matter the style. Use your creativity, whatever shape um, of the logo that you want to use. You can go ahead and use anyone, and I have four different shapes here. If you want to make your own, or if you want to find another template online, you guys can go ahead and do that. If you want to draw it, you can draw it however you want to. So your coat of arms is gonna be on that page, and at the top, I would like you guys to write the Bible verse, Romans 12:21, and I did include that if you have taken a look at the content for week 2. I have the Bible verse there, and then if you guys have your package, it's on the first page. I have the Bible verse, which is Romans 12:21, and that is gonna be like your title for this diagram. And then what you are going to be putting in your coat of arms, and you could do this one out of two ways. You could divide your coat of arms into three sections so that you have one section representing each of these three, or you could do all of them together, and all of them are just represented simultaneously in one big coat of arms. All right. And what you guys have to show are the three aspects that we're going to be looking at right now. One, the challenge of worship. Two, communication barrier. And three, the challenge of education and technology. So I want to see you guys representing these three things. What could be used to represent the challenge of worship? What could be used to represent communication barriers? What could be used to represent education and technology? And you guys can draw, you guys can write, just make it as creative as you want, and you can integrate different ideas in your own coat of arms. Anybody has any questions with this first assignment?
No, 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 no.
It's clear? Okay, very good. So this is your first assignment, right? And then once you have done this, you guys can go ahead and submit that. So This is what we're going to be talking about today, the impacts of the West African culture. So now, you guys last week, I know that when you guys research, and especially when you were doing your learning activity too, from last week, you guys had to read up on the culture and you had to view some videos, but you were researching and you found out about the culture of the empire that you chose, be it Mali, Ghana, or Songhai. You chose one of these and you found out about their culture. Now, what we were going to be talking about today is basically how these cultures have changed and what has caused these changes. What made it difficult for Mali, Ghana, and Songhai to continue passing on their traditions and passing on their culture to the generations that came after. And looking at the first one, the challenge of worship. If we take a look at the challenge of worship now, and we want to talk about Mali, I'm going to concentrate on Mali's empire. The challenge of worship is that each of these empires, Mali, Songhai, and Ghana, and I'm only showing Mali as an example, but each of these empires had their own beliefs, their own religion to some extent, but because of the trading that happened, and when it started with Portugal, and when other places in Europe found out that okay, we can be trading with the West African cultures, we can be trading with Americas, and all of these places started to find out okay, West Africa has a lot of riches, we can get stuff there, we can trade with them. During that trading process, the religion and the beliefs of the African culture started to diminish little by little. And it started when Portugal and Europe, these countries in Europe, started to bring the Christianity and started to bring this whole idea of um, worshiping God, having one God, having to believe in God the Father, the Son, all of these ideas that come with Christianity. And this was in the beginning um, the Roman Catholic Christianity, because that is the one that would first emerge. You had the Roman Catholics. And this was a religion that was very vivid in Portugal at that time. So when the Portuguese would come, they would bring their Christianity and they would bring their beliefs. And because they would bring their beliefs and they would be staying, traveling from Portugal to West Africa, it's not something that happens overnight. So when they would come, they would be practicing their Christianity and they would be doing these things and they would encourage Africans to do that. And they would do that with the pretext that if you start believing in Christianity, more people are gonna come and trade with you because they know that you're Christians. And then there was at the point where even one of the leaders, and you have their it says Munsa Musa, um, where this leader decided to change his religion and he became a Christian afterwards because he thought that I'm gonna get richer this way if I become a Christian. I have more people knowing that I'm Christian. I'm already rich. People are gonna start saying that I'm a Christian now, so I'm gonna have more people coming and trading with me. And that was the mentality that he had. And that mentality was backed up because when he became a Christian, a lot of more people started to come to Mali to start trading. And okay, I want your products and I'm going to give you guys gold. And all of these things started happening because of that. But because of that this leader did now, it also had effects on the culture of Mali's empire, because if the ruler, the king at that time, decided to change his religion, he also made it that his people had to follow that religion as well, because it didn't make sense. The king is going to change to Christianity, but my people are still going to be doing the African religion thing. So with that whole contradiction that happened, because even today, I don't know if you guys have grandparents or great grandparents that have their strong beliefs, and then even if you tell them no, it's not like that, they're gonna say it's like that and you have to do it like that and you have to believe it's like that. Well, there were people like that still there in Africa, where in the Mali Empire, where they said, okay, I'm not gonna do that because that is not my culture. I am not going to change. I am not going to be a Christian. And that was what was happening with some of these people. And some other people that wanted to follow and were loyal to the king decided to change to Christianity. And then this was where you had like a mini civil wars between the Mali Empire, because the Christianity was coming in. You had people that still were believing in the African religion, and they were just butting heads. They could not reach to an agreement. And when this leader died, his sons took over. And some of his sons were decided to convert to Christian and other sons did not. And to decide who was going to be ruling next, all of those things led up, and other factors, of course, led up to where the Mali Empire just crumbled. Not I'm not saying that religion was the primary factor, but religion was one of the factors that led to the Mali Empire crumbling after some time. But this is an example that I'm showing you guys as to how the challenge of worship. And today, now, if we go to Africa, Africa has so many tribes, and that could be a whole unit if we only talk about the Africans right now and the African culture right now. But there are people that in Africa that do have their religion, and there are other people that are Christians and they believe in Christians and in Christianity, sorry. And then it's still this idea of some tribes have this belief and some tribes have this other belief, and that's why there is this segregation between this tribe and the other tribe, and it's still happening today. And it started way back then, where Portugal decided to start trading with the Africans. So that was the first one. So in your coat of arms, you have to show ways how the challenge of worship was found not necessarily in the Mali Empire, but in the West African empires in general. And you could use different illustrations. If you guys want to crop out any of these, you guys can go ahead and put it in your coat of arms. But you have to find a way to see what symbols can I use to represent the challenge of worship. Now, communication barrier. Talking about the communication barrier now, it's very straightforward. Even today, I I'm I haven't heard all of you speak. I have seen your assignments. But then seeing your assignments, reading your assignments is different from hearing you guys actually speak vocally. But in the past, I have had students where there is a communication barrier between the teacher and the student, where I might be speaking English and I might be using some words that the students do not understand. And maybe that might happen in your cases and you guys don't tell me. I might be using some words that you don't know what the definition of that word is, or what am I trying to say by using that word. And even in your assignments, you might see a word that you don't know what it is. And what does the teacher want me to do? And then you start freaking out because you don't know what it is. And that is where you have a communication barrier, right? But we have a communication barrier in the same language because all of us speak English. The communication barrier that happened in the West African Empire is that West Africa has its own dialects, and I saw each one of you guys that decided to find your research on your empire. You listed out the languages, and if you guys realize, there is not only one language for each empire because the empires were so big that they were divided into different groups, and each group had their own dialect of the West African language. And now, where the communication barrier happened was when Portugal came and Portugal started to trade with these West African cultures. And there was a whole confusion because I am talking one language, I'm talking West African, and you're talking Portuguese to me, and we're not understanding each other. And all of these ideas where you had these merchants coming and these merchants getting coming to the markets going to Timbuktu, all of these tradings that were happening, there was moments where trading did not happen accurately, meaning that somebody got something and didn't pay what it was worth, or somebody paid more than what they got, right? And then these were the problems that started arising now when the trading happening, because this communication barrier didn't allow them to communicate fluently. And now what happened now? That there were people in these West African empires that decided that we have to learn their language, because of course the Portuguese were not going to learn West African. The Africans had to learn Portuguese or any European language for these countries that were coming and trading with them. So that was the communication barrier that happened. It started with the trading that led them to the moment that they realized we have to learn another language. And it wasn't everybody that had to learn another language. I don't know if you guys have seen movies or series where somebody from another country comes, they bring somebody like a translator because that person knows the language. And the rulers don't necessarily have to learn the language. They talk in their own language, and then this person, the medium person in between, he is the one that does the translation between them. So this was what was happening at the beginning, because it was very difficult to learn a language so fast and so quickly. And you want to trade, especially these kings, like in this empire that I'm showing here, where you have King Sonny Ali. The kings weren't obligated to do anything. They were just there enjoying the riches of life. And when you had these Portuguese coming to trade, he had to be ready to do that and be able to do that. So he would get these medium persons that would know the languages, and just I say something, you translate, you tell them what I'm saying, and when they say something, you tell me what they're saying. And this is where they realize we have a communication barrier. So, in your coat of arms, I would like to see that. I would like to see you guys showing how can you guys represent the communication barrier? You could use, for example, the little bubbles or the little clouds where you have little symbols and they're confused. They don't know what is happening. You could go online and you could search the symbols that represent communication barrier. You could search that. You could include images where people look confused when they're talking to each other. You decide how you want to represent communication barrier in your coat of arms. And then now the challenge of education and technology. When we're talking about the challenge of education and technology, people think that technology, it's like computers, what we have right now. You have your iPhones, you have your cell phones, you have tablets, you have computers, you have these supercomputers in these countries. But technology isn't really just about um, computers or software, hardware. Technology started way back in the past, and technology was very basic. Um, if we take a look at trading in this specific in Ghana, that's what I'm showing right now. Trading in Ghana. At first, people would carry all of these golds, the salts. They would just put them on the backs in bags, and then they would carry them. After some time, they found the use of camels, and up to today, if we go to the Sahara Desert, camels is the number one way to travel, because these animals can sustain that environment. But moving to camels then became more easier for them, and that was how they improved their transportation. After the whole conception where they found out, okay, camels can be used to carry these things, they moved to caravans. And caravans are like little carts. And the caravans would be filled with whatever they wanted to train and whatever they were taking. And then these were what they were using afterwards. And that is a form of technology. That is how technology and education is being unveiled in this scenario, where I didn't have to have a cell phone back then for me to say I'm using technology. Using education and technology was improving their transportation system. But now, this whole idea of trading with the camels and then with the caravans, and you give me gold and I give you salt, and these things no longer happen. It's not like the barter system, if you guys know what that is, where you give me something, I give you something else, right? Right now in the day, there is, I don't know if you guys have seen the e-cash app where you take your phone and then you just scan it and you pay it, right? That is how the technology of our time has taken over the original trading system that has happened. If you guys are familiar with the Mayas and how the Mayas would use cacao as a form of money, that was their trading system, that was their barter system. And just like Ghana, Mali, and Songhai had their own way of trading, you give me this, I give you so much of this. I give you that, you give me so much of that. That was how they were trading back then, but that is no longer seen. You don't see people doing that right now. Maybe for lunch you might trade, give me your orange, I give you my banana, but um it's no longer, it's no longer vivid anymore that you see people trading things like that. And even I think in buy and sell, they say when somebody posts a phone, I don't know if you guys have seen, when somebody posts a phone and they're selling it on buy and sell, they say 750 our best offer, no trading, because you don't really want to trade. If I give you a phone and you're gonna give me another phone, um it defeats the purpose of me wanting to get money. But now in your coat of arms, I would like to see how technology was affected. How did these, and you could use the same idea that I'm presenting to you guys here, where people were carrying trade, they were doing trade by carrying them themselves, then they moved to camel transportation, and then they moved to caravan transportation. But it's just one idea. You guys have used your creativity to show how education and technology was, or the impact of the loss of these things. Anybody has any questions?
No, no, no.
Clear, because I felt I was talking too much, and I don't know if you guys got lost. And but anyways, our exit ticket is in Google Classroom. Now, I have posted it. It's an assignment, so you need to listen very, very carefully. You guys will go to Google Classroom. You will click on the November 9th exit ticket, and it should open up a Google slide. All right, it should open up a Google slide that looks like this. All right. You guys are gonna be choosing three of the little emoji faces, and then you can just grab it and you can drag it there. And then you're gonna tell me why did you have that reaction today. And you can, once you have finished that, so you guys have to put the little face, you type what you have to type, you close it, and you have to go back to Google Classroom and you have to submit it because it's an assignment. So make sure that you turn it in. Any questions? Any questions? No questions? Okay. Now, I am going to be.
Yes.
Yes.
One way another online.
Okay, Trinice, then you don't have to do it. This is only for the online ones. I will be sending the recording in the WhatsApp group, and then I'll be sending you guys a Google form to do.
Okay, miss.
Okay, sure. Um, yeah. All you do is you choose three of them. So depending on how you felt, and be honest, guys, um don't put little happy faces and then you felt bored the entire class. Just put the feelings that you had What were the reactions that you had based on what I said? Did you found the information to be not that interesting? Did you found it to be okay? That's a little silly. Why did they do that? Did you found it interesting? And then you choose the little faces that represent three reactions that you had, and then you tell me why did you had a reaction or what made you feel that reaction, and then that will be it. That's all you have to do. Miss, I don't have the image. Okay, it's because maybe you're using a device that does not allow you to use. I did try this one with my other class, and I had some people as well that did not have the emojis. If it doesn't show up on your one, just go ahead and type your sentences, and that's gonna be fine. Don't worry about not putting the images. Okay, is everybody clear with that?
Yes, miss.
Okay, good. So,
Okay, miss.
okay, great. So, I am going to let you guys leave, and you have, I think I put it until midnight tonight to submit this. So you can either, I would suggest do it right now. You might forget this afternoon, but go ahead and do the exit slip. And then you just submit it to me. I will be giving extra points because I'm posting it as an assignment in Google Classroom. But you guys are free to leave. On Thursday, we will talk about learning activity number 2. Okay?
Okay, miss. Bye.
Bye. Goodbye.
Bye, Miss.
Bye, miss.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye, miss.
Bye.
Bye, miss.
Bye,
Bye, Miss.
guys. Thank you, Owen. You too. Bye.
Bye, miss.
Bye.